Hello everyone and welcome into round number 13 of the 2018 MotoOption Supercross Series and MX Simulator Pro Series here on SYS TV. My name is Kellen Brower and we are back. We had the week off last week. You guys may have tuned in for the JGSX Super Long Supercross, which was a fun event to have. But we are back to the official Pro Series, and like I said, we are on to round number 13 in Seattle, where the 250 West boys are back in action this weekend. When we last saw them, it was the 450 class for round 12 and the 250 East-West Showdown, their first showdown of the season, which I believe was round number 7 of the West series by that point. But back into the 250 West campaign this weekend, and none other than Russ Chapman, who, other than the showdown 2 weeks ago, has been undefeated in all West competition, and he again comes in this week as your fastest qualifier on a 51.1 second lap time on this quite fast track. Actually, it's going to be condensed racing tonight. It'll be a little bit shorter lap times in total. So 51.1 for Russ Chapman, and he blew everybody else out of the water. Sean Klein's second fastest on a 52.3, Ben Seberg on a 52.7, Isaiah Dickerson on a 52.8, and Zoa Cross also on a 52.8. Round out your top 5 in the 250 class. So Chapman 1.2 seconds better than the rest of the field, and that is dangerous for everybody coming into tonight. We've already seen it. First 6 rounds of the season, undefeated. Obviously not successful in continuing that streak at the first showdown last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. But he's going to try to get back on track and maybe even wrap up this title early tonight. It is possible, coming down with 3 rounds to go for this series, that he could wrap this thing up. So we'll be sure to keep an eye on that. Right now, we might be loading into 250 heat number 1. Don't believe there's enough riders for a consi. There was only 32 in the 250 West class and 40 exactly in the 450 class. So yeah, no consolation race, which means that on the gate is going to be 250 heat number 1, but they are going to go for a warm-up lap. While they go around for a warm-up lap, I'm going to let you guys know about the 450 lap times tonight, and surprise, surprise, top of the 450 timesheets. First race we'll see him in all year if he actually makes the gate. We never really know with this guy. Hunter Root is your fastest qualifier here in Seattle in the 450 class. A 50.2 just beats out Jeremy Siebold's 50.3. Colton Mitchell on a 50.6. Adam Holm on a 50.7. And Alexis Leclerc on a 50.7 as well. Jesse Mullins right behind that. Looking down the order, not seeing any other main players. Looks like everybody is right near the sharp end of the field in the 450 class. So we will move on to the standings for the moment, as 250 heat number 1 is about to get underway. Take a look at our 250 West standings and see that Russ Chapman has a quite large, well, not as large as you would think, lead for having won so many races this year. But after Sean Klein's victory at the showdown last week, and he pulled himself back to only 29 points down in this championship. So it is still possible for Chapman to get in this thing, but if he leaves 50 points or more down tonight, or I'm sorry, Klein to get in this thing, if he leaves 50 points or more down tonight, it is Chapman's title. And we are off and running here in Seattle. Dickerson with a great jump down the inside will lead them into turn 1. You saw Chapman on the 29 swing wide. He lost the front wheel and is down in the first corner. So it is Dickerson leading from Ty Smith, and jumping over Smith was Cody Yates on the 324. Down the inside goes Matthias Janis into that 3 spot, and a rider going down as well. And Janis is going to try to jump by Ty Smith around the outside and make it an MV Films 1-2, and he will do that as we got side by side over the Supercross triple for the lead. And Janis is going to get his teammate Dickerson, who goes off the track and gets back on and gets into Smith. Dakota French gets into the back of him, and a few other riders are slicing through. None of the main players right up front yet. Didn't see Chapman slice through in that one. So it is Matthias Janis, who almost got landed on by Ty Smith, who is leading here on lap number 2 now, as they have already gone over the finish line to complete lap number 1. So Janis leading this thing and looking comfortably so. Cody Yates in second, Jared Gasquet in third, and Dakota French got around that chaos to get into 4th. Matt Model is 5th. Dickerson gets up from his crash in 6th. Ty Smith is 7th. Grant Harlan holds down the 8th spot. And then we got James Schuler and a really big pack of riders right behind him for that final transfer spot. Schuler is in it. Ming Woodley wants it. And here comes Eagland getting around Ming Woodley and around Schuler, who was down in the rhythm. So Chapman also gets there, and he is going to go around Eagland to get that final transfer spot. So Chapman through, and he is now in 8th, actually. So we had another rider go down. So that's actually Eagland that now goes on to the final transfer spot. Behind that is Tyler Fry and Zach Dupuis. You will hear quite a few 252 strokes as Chapman slides it down. He's going out of transfer right now. Quite a few 252 strokes out here in EMF and formerly RF competition, this North America series for MXS EMF MotoOption Supercross. You are allowed to race a 252 stroke in the 250F class. So you'll hear these 252 strokes out here. They get really good starts. And so a lot of guys prefer to use them because they get good starts, and they're also pretty competitive elsewhere, although corner speed is a little bit down. They're not as nimble as the 250Fs are. So lots of mixing around going on back here as Fry and Eagland are getting into it. I believe they are battling for 8th right now after everything happened, and Fry is going to go down. Eagland also goes down. And yeah, that was for 8th, so Eagland stays in the spot. Model now goes to 9th, but Model's going to go to 8th as Eagland goes off the track, and Schuler is almost running into the back of Model. Now Model can't do the Supercross triple, and jumping over his head, Tyler Fry nearly gets the spot now down the inside. Look at how deep and rutted out these corners are getting, and he parks Matt Model, who was able to keep it on 2 wheels. So you'll see the ruts starting to develop in some of these corners. That's a product of 2018 MX Simulator racing. We've got teammates passing each other here, battling for 8th, Fry and Schuler. The terrain deformation now possible in online racing in MX Simulator, which has never happened before. This is the first ever Pro Series still that has been able to accomplish it. Oh, and Dupuis is down, so he is going to potentially, yeah, he's going to lose that last transfer spot as Eagland goes by. But the erode, you can see, look at 3 lines already developing in that corner that are quite deep and all fairly usable. This corner as well, same thing. We'll see these lines really get deeper and deeper as we hit some of the longer races on the night. The main events will be incredible. Seattle known for very soft dirt. Not 100% sure what the erode factors that they're using tonight are, but I'd imagine that it's probably a little softer than usual because of the Seattle dirt. So Janis continues to lead. Jarrett Gaskew sits in second. He's trying to hold off Isaiah Dickerson. This is the first time we've seen Gaskew in a while. And he is going to relinquish that spot now to Dickerson, but good to see Gaskew back racing MotoOption Supercross. And then Dickerson goes down, so they keep playing a little bit of swapsies for this second spot, both comfortably in transfer. Here's Russ Chapman, your points leader, holding down the 4 spot as well, comfortably in transfer, and gets around Gaskew, who was stuck in the corner there. You can see how deep these ruts are getting. Not quite the last lap of the race just yet. You'll notice a marker in the upper right hand corner of your screen when we are in full camera mode that will indicate a white flag over the lap marker, and a checkered once the checkered has come out. So it's still green flag, which means the white flag hasn't come out yet. And Chapman getting a little off kilter in this first rhythm, on board with him here. I want to show you guys some of these lines developing. See these guys all swinging wide in this corner so they can triple in here, and then they go triple, and Chapman will triple into the corner. Middle rut here, out, up over the double, and Supercross triple. And down through some of the ruts. It's getting real choppy in there as he goes in and out of the mechanic banners. And you can see these corners both getting really big lines developed, and then this line before the finish line actually getting pretty deep as well. So Chapman 53.1 resets his best lap of the race, and actually resets fastest lap of the race as Janis goes down with the lead. And Dickerson inherits it, but now Chapman, who is well outside of the top 10 early on in this race, now has a chance to win this heat race, which will obviously give him optimal gate pick going towards the main event. He will either end up with first or second gate pick depending on total race time from either heat. And Chapman going for the 3 in, 3 over, 3 out line, and he hits Dickerson, and he's down with him. Dickerson and Chapman both on the deck, and Gasquet is not going to get there in time, so Dickerson gets up and repasses Chapman, and they're both still 1-2. Gasquet now coming in the background, and they will be coming to that white flag next time by. Dickerson in the bails. Chapman's trying to use the inside line. Gets it. Dickerson trying to fight back, but Chapman shuts the door, and he will lead on to the white flag here. So good racing up front early in the evening between these two in 250 West, heat number 1. Chapman looks like he might be a little bit faster, but he has to avoid a lapper going backwards there, and Dickerson gets into him. And here comes Janis. He's not out of it either, as he is now right behind his teammate. So they go through these little rollers on the inside, both of them electing the over table triple into the corner, and he lands on his teammate, and they're both down. So Chapman will get away no problem. Gasquet goes by for second. The worst nightmare for the MV Films crew as they collect each other, and that is going to easily give Chapman a win here as he is cruising it home. Gasquet isn't that far back. Well, lost a little bit of time now, so Chapman's going to cruise this thing home, but here it is. Russ Chapman, 250, heat number 1 winner at Seattle. Gasquet, Dickerson, Janis, Yates, Fry, French, Schuler, all looking comfortable right now. But Dupuis is on the bubble. Can Eaglin get to him in time? Dupuis just trying to take it easy here. These ruts can come up and bite you these last few corners, so he's just trying to ease through him. Dupuis, a former 450 national champion in this game. And looks like Eaglin went down in the background, so he will survive. Schuler goes through, and Dupuis stamps his ticket to the main event. All other runners behind him will be going to the last chance qualifier, which we will see coming up a little bit later on in our program. That includes, but it's not limited to, Colby Eaglin, Ty Smith, Mikhail Ming Woodley, Cody Darr, Grant Harlan, Matt Model, and that was it. 15 guys started this one, getting deeper into the season and losing more and more riders. Cuts are in, and looks like Dickerson lost a spot to Janis. That was it inside of our transfer spots. So everybody inside of transfer stayed in transfer. Is just Dickerson and Janis swapping those positions. All right, so we are heading into 250 heat number 2, and I want to remind you guys again, Versus PC, a huge supporter this year of the Start Your Systems broadcasts and of the Start Your Systems YouTube channel. They really helped me out getting hooked up with a good gaming PC, and they can help you out today by heading over to versuspc.com. They have pre-builts, they have custom builds, they have hard parts, they have lots of stuff to help you get your computer exactly what you need and get you gaming with the best of them. versuspc.com, please check them out. So heat number 2 in this 250 West region, and we will see Sean Klein, your winner at the last round at Indianapolis, which was of course our showdown round. So good on Klein to get his first career win at a showdown. Let's see if he can repeat tonight in Seattle, but he's got to go through the heat race first, as do the rest of them, and it is time for 250 heat number 2 here at Seattle. Gate is down, and a land rush on the inside. Looks like Clint Martin and Ben Seberg are going to go side by side into turn 1, but it is Martin on the 68 Transmoto machine who is going to come out with the whole shot. Seberg right there in second, and then Klein on the 10 looking down the inside, tripling into the corner, and maybe had a shot for the lead, but will settle for second as Martin now solely inherits the lead, and pretty clean through the first couple sections for your leaders. A lot different than that West heat. A couple guys down in the background, but they're all funneling in. Clint Martin, the rider out of Australia, battling it out with Sean Klein, your winner 2 weeks ago at Indianapolis, and on to lap number 2. Klein looks like he wants to try to make quick work of Martin, of course. Martin being from Australia, gonna have a little bit more of that lag bubble going on around him due to the different ping. So Klein maybe having a tougher time understanding exactly where Martin is on the track, but I think some Aussies are usually okay. Martin might be one of the exceptions, of course. Klein choosing a different option through that first rhythm and able to keep things relatively close. Now they both go for the 3-3-3 in the second rhythm and get it clean. So Martin's hanging tight here. Klein giving him some pressure. They are pulling away from the rest of the field, and Martin is hanging on strong. Covering his insides, and Klein gets a little cross-threaded in the background, loses some time, and then Martin dumps it in the final corner. Looks like he may have lost the front wheel. So that hands Sean Klein your lead, but a small hiccup there, almost went up and over the bars. Oh, and now Martin seems to have gone down again as Ben Seberg moves into second, and there is Martin picking himself up off the deck after the finish line jump. That will move Kevin Gonzalez into the 3 spot. Martin going down again in 4th, and here comes Zoa Cross. Cross swinging wide now, looking inside, and will show him a wheel, but they get together and they're both on the deck. Couple riders coming in the background. That is Brandon Hedge and Ash Deering. So we got a little 4-rider train brewing after Martin made a mistake, and now Hedge goes down, Deering hits him, the 251 of Doiron goes through, and Cross also went down, exiting the corner, so a big shuffle between all these guys. Looking inside is Hedge on Doiron, and he puts him down. Cuts over all the ruts to get there, so Jack Fowler goes through, Doiron gets up right in front of his teammate Zoa Cross. And then Hedge is down in the next corner, and Cross hits him, so kind of a little bit of clown show going on back here. These guys keep making small mistakes, but just goes to show, even in the Pro Series, this is not easy stuff with the way the track is breaking down. These guys all have only had just a little over an hour of time to get used to this track, and if any of you out there have ever played MX Simulator, you know how difficult it is to get the hang of a track very quickly in this game. Just kind of further drives home the point of how good the guys up front are. Sean Klein still leading, but we saw Chapman in that last one with the race victory and how consistent he was on this track as it broke down. So Martin seems to have settled down a little bit from those crashes, and he still is under attack here from Jack Fowler, who we haven't seen much of this year. Used to be a pretty regular main event guy. Obviously has national number 83, so he knows how to put it in the main events. But we really haven't seen much of him that I can remember. Let's go back up front. Sean Klein getting into some lap traffic here, just over 4 minutes into this 6-minute plus 1 lap heat race. Looks like that is Cody Penwell and Nathan Zaworski. He is splitting there. Ruts are getting deeper and deeper. Brandon Hedge also about to go a lap down. If anything, these heat races are maybe a little bit nicer for lappers than any other race of the season because there's less people out there. Only had 15 in that first heat. I believe we only have 16 in this second. Normally there would be 20. So 4 less guys on the track makes it a little less treacherous, but this track breaking down the way it has already, looks like these guys are kind of just struggling with getting around the track. Klein lapping pretty far up though already. Oh, Seberg! Almost through the front door, and then through the front door onto Nathan Zaworski's head. But does not fall off the bike peculiarly enough. So Martin up to 3rd, Gonzalez slips to 4th, Doiron is now 5th, Jack Fowler is 6th, Cross 7th, Warden in 8th, and Ollie Sundberg in 9th for Midas Racing. Sundberg, rider out of Sweden, that we don't see very often either. It's quite early in the morning, obviously, in Europe for all of our competitors. Ooh, Warden with a big get-off off the side of the track. And he is going to fall to 9th and go a lap down here to Sean Klein. Horrible track re-entry, but he also just lost a transfer spot as Brandon Hedge goes through, and then Hedge goes down, so Penwell goes through. These guys, mind you, are a lap down as Penwell goes full send and up and over the bars, cartwheels it down, and loses that spot back to Jake Warden, who remains in 9th despite having a roller coaster couple sections there. And Warden going around Sundberg, who was down. So Deering is kind of sneaking up into this. All these guys are a lap down, mind you. Go back to our leader, Sean Klein, who seems like he has lapped past. Warden is the next guy that he has already lapped, and Warden is in 8th by the looks of it. Yep, so he's lapped up to 8th, and he's having little troubles here, but it is the final lap for him, and he's got a sizable lead on Ben Seberg, so we'll go ahead and slide back to this battle for the final transfer spot. Warden is in 8th, Sundberg is in 9th, and here comes Deering in 10th, and they're about to be lapped by Seberg. So this is coming down to the wire, and Warden is down. So Deering is going to be gifted the final spot, and he should hang on to it as we head back up front. Klein is actually almost being caught here by Seberg, so that's why we're taking a look at this. But into the final couple corners, look at how deep those ruts have gotten. And Sean Klein is going to take the win here, 250 heat number 2. Seberg right behind him, though, kept him honest. Gonzalez, Doiron, Fowler, Martin, Deering, Sundberg, and Warden just misses out by half a second. Sundberg got the final spot, but that could come down to cuts. All these other guys not making it through. We'll finish off with seeing some of these other guys actually finish the race. Zoe Cross looks like he made it up to 3rd. Past Kevin Gonzalez to get there. Jack Fowler has Doiron looking down his inside, but he's not going to get there, so Fowler holds off for 5th. Doiron gets 6th. Martin ends up in 7th, and then we saw Deering and Sundberg come over the line 8th and 9th. A lap down, but transferring to the main event, and cuts are in, and it was actually Warden who had more significant cuts than Sundberg. Actually had cuts in comparison to Sundberg, who did not have cuts. So it will stay the same. Sundberg, Deering, Martin, Doiron, Fowler, Gonzalez, Cross, Seberg, and Klein going to the main event. All right, so now it is time for the big boys. 450 heat number 1 coming up next. We already talked to you through a little bit about the qualifying efforts for our 450 riders tonight, but let's take a look a little further at the championship scenarios that we're looking at right now. And sorry, trying to load something just so I can see. And Alexis Leclerc, of course, entering as your points leader still on 253 to Colt Mitchell on 243. So just a 10-point difference between your front two. And it's basically down to them now. We saw that whole incident a few weeks ago. Jesse Mullins was suspended for round 11 at St. Louis after his incident where he unsafely re-entered the track at Daytona. Collected himself and Alexis Leclerc. Leclerc protested the incident, got Mullins suspended for round 11. So that basically pulled Mullins out of the championship contention, but he is still the nearest rider to our front two on 202 points. So he is 51 points back of your points leader Leclerc, but pretty much all but over this late into the season. Got a question in chat about cuts, and that is a good thing for me to talk about. Basically what happens is there is a time delta between each timing gate. There's about, I think there's actually 30 timing gates on this track, and a rough estimation is made based on standard deviation from how long it takes riders to get from one gate to another. So if you skip one gate and go faster to that gate that's beyond the second gate, you will get cuts based on the standard deviation from that gate. It's kind of confusing, but that's how we keep people on the track in MotoOption Supercross. We are underway here in Seattle for 450 heat number 1, and down the inside, of course, it is Leclerc with a great start, but how about Hunter Root from the outside, pulls alongside, and this is the two men we want to see tonight. Leclerc, your points leader, versus Hunter Root, the challenger. Root, a multi-time 450 champion in this game, both North America and European series, so he knows how to get it done, but he's trying to knock off your top dog right now. Alexis Leclerc, the current points leader. Root has since been regarded as the best current player in this game based off of natural talent. And it's a shame we don't see him more often in the North America Series, but it's good to see him here tonight. And I'd imagine this is going to be a good one out front, so I don't want to switch away too quick just yet. See how this race materializes. Leclerc obviously going to try to go full bore here at the beginning, get away from Root. Behind them, Jeremy Smith coming with Dominic Tiberino, so those guys no slouches either. Smith on the 4, also a multi-time champion in this game, only in the 250 class though. Oh, and Leclerc is down with the lead, and he gets collected there with Root, who was trying to avoid him, so Root goes through, Smith goes through, Tiberino goes through. There's Mullins going around Leclerc, and this actually might be a good battle to stay on, given the recent history between Mullins and Leclerc. Leclerc going to obviously want to try to go forward from here in 5th right now. Better gate pick. Wants to try to get down the inside like he did tonight in this heat race. Oh, Mullins goes down, so that takes away the battle we were hoping for. Ethan Parks does the exact same thing Mullins just did, and it's going to potentially cost him a transfer spot here. Jeremy Hinders is trying to get there and almost did, and gets stood up in the corner. But I believe Parks is actually in your final transfer spot right now. I'm going to peek real quick. No, I'm sorry, Hinders is. So Hinders in the final transfer spot, but then behind him, a Land Rusher riders. Batchlett, Simmons, Wright, Devin Davis, Gatlin, and Garrett Oliver make up a 6-pack of riders going on here. Batchlett actually getting away from this group a little bit and pulling up to the rear tire of Jeremy Hinders. Heavy on the front nose, or the front end of the bike. The nose of that BPC Husqvarna. So these guys, you can already tell the 450 power deteriorating the track a little bit quicker. Only 3 minutes in, you can see ruts really starting to develop, and it's making it a little bit more awkward for these guys. They're getting kicked in random spots. What I'm liking about this early on is you can see lots of ruts materializing in the corners. I think there were some preset ruts, just a few, to kind of get things going in some of these corners. The rest are obviously all natural from there. It gets dug out deeper, bigger. Can't wait to see what it looks like towards the end of these main events. Head back up front and see that Root is still leading, but whoa, evasive action. He is, somehow stays on the track. He's got to keep his ears out though. Here comes Jeremy Smith on the 4, and he is hauling the mail right now, trying to get to the rear tire of Root. Actually looks down the inside, pulls alongside, and over the triple we go. A little bit of scrub dualies, and Jeremy Smith has taken over the race lead from Hunter Root. So just like that, we have a change for the lead. Whoa, and then Smith loses the rear end coming out of the corner and gives it right back, but I think that this battle isn't quite over yet. Smith, a multi-time 450 Supercross winner, knows how to get it done in this class. Oh, but he cases the triple and has a legs-off crash. So here comes Leclerc, and he might just get there. I think Smith already just got going. I can hear it in the foreground there. But Leclerc is about to be right on him. Oh, and Smith in the corner right after he crashes ends up upside down in the berm, so may have lost the front end on entry. Back to 3rd. Now here's 4th, Jeremy Cohenauer. Had a rough weekend at Indy. Did not make the main if I recall correctly, but it's been a good year for Cohenauer so far this year. You may remember back to Atlanta, which was the second of our 3 Triple Crown events, and Cohenauer was one of the main event winners there. Actually getting away from Mullins a little bit right now. Mullins getting hitched by a lapper, just a tiny bit. Behind that, Hinders has now moved into 6th, right in front of Reed Young. Oh, and Reed Young gets into the back of him, but somehow they both save it. Hinders got kicked into the corner, and Reed Young avoided the front end lock. And Ethan Parks holds down 8th, and Simos is in your final transfer spot right now. The rider out of Brazil, trying to hold off Devin Davis. I want to make sure I have that correct. Yes, Davis is in 10th. Oh, Reed Young down. So Davis is going to go through. Young down the inside. Davis was playing nice there, gave him the line. Get out. Oh my goodness, that rut is massive. Young, a small mistake. Davis looking to pounce at any opportunity he can get. And behind these guys, the white flag has just been taken. Or actually, I'm sorry, in front of these guys, I believe, is your race leader actually. Trying to take a peek. No? Where is Root? Yeah, behind him. So Davis, has he been in 9th? No, he's still 10th. Oh, there is Ethan Parks coming back onto the track, so that switches it. Davis goes into 9th. Parks now back to 10th. And a lapped rider right behind them. Parks slides it down. Oh, if he gets lapped, it's detrimental, and he goes down. Back up front, Hunter Root is coming to the checkers, and Hunter Root, in his return to the MotoOption Supercross Series, wins heat number 1. But as mentioned, Ethan Parks ended up lapped, which ruined his chances to go into the main. All 9 guys on the lead lap will go to the main now because cuts will definitely not play a factor. Leclerc ended up 2nd. Smith ended up in the 3 spot. Mullins is going to get 4th. So he beat Kohenauer back. Kohenauer goes down, but he has a sizable gap on Hinters. So Hinters right now is in the 6th spot. Reed Young 7th, Davis 8th, and Simos 9th. And as mentioned, all of these riders are safe and going through. It is nearly impossible to get a lap of cuts in this game unless you miss huge sections of timing gates or or you cut quite often. Davis loses the front end. Leclerc, who has already finished the race, is kind of chasing these guys down, but all these guys going through, I guess it's not really the worst thing. Gosh, that rut is so deep, and these guys aren't even using that inside before the finish, but Davis stamps his ticket to the main, along with Simos, Young, Hinters, Kohenauer, Mullins, Smith, Leclerc, and Root. Man, oh man, that heat race was stacked. Top 3 all Race Factory Gaming Race Factory Gaming champions, national champions on some level. Root was your, I'll probably mess this up, but I believe Root was your 2015 Supercross champion. Yes, 2015 Supercross champion in this game. Jeremy Smith was the 2013 250 national champion, as well as being the 2013 250 East champion and 2014 250 West Supercross champion. And Alexis Leclerc was your 2014 450 motocross champion. So all these guys have won large championships in this game. All right, so coming up next should be 450 heat number 2. I want to remind everybody, of course, MotoOption clothing, title sponsor of the MotoOption Supercross Series for the 7th year running. They came on board the series when Race Factory Gaming started at the end of 2011 and hosted the first Pro Supercross Series for 450s in-game in 2012. Prior to that, the premier class was 250Fs, and the series was hosted by JLV. It was just the MX Simulator Supercross replica series. MotoOption came in, helped out with prizing, and has been around ever since, providing awesome prizing to the series and providing all you with some great apparel, accessories, graphics, you name it. MotoOption probably has it. They stock a lot of things, and they are a fantastic company. Have been supporting video games in general for a while. You may see them in the new MX vs. ATV All Out video game. Awesome to have a company like MotoOption on board, and I would recommend to you folks out there to check them out. Get yourself a t-shirt. Why not? Support the sponsors that support us. All right, here we go. 450 heat number 2 is on the gate. Looks like a pretty full gate at that. And only 9 of these guys are going to the 450 main tonight. All others to the LCQ, and we're about to find out what happens right now in heat number 2. Good start for Turley right alongside Haskell. It's a drag race into turn 1. Haskell is actually going to lead them in, grab the hole shot, and get ahead of Holm and triple in. So Haskell going to go 3-4-2 through the first rhythm and actually open up a small gap. Adam Holm slots into second. Holm entering tonight 4th in points, and he almost gets bucked through the front door at the end of the rhythm section there. Blakeley, Hillman, Haley, your 250 East points leaders in this one. Turley able to get out and inside of the top 10 early, like Ivan Medina, Richards, and then second in the points tonight, Colton Mitchell. Not the start to his heat race that he had hoped for, but he is trying to make quick work while he can, but he gets crossed over. Medina, a small mistake there. He's actually on a 250F out there, it looks like. And so Colton Mitchell is buried in the pack early on, but up front, the 94 2 times Supercross champion Brian Haskell leads the way. I think Adam Holm's going to want to go get him here pretty quick, and yes, he will. Into the lead goes the 27 machine. MV films of Adam Holm as he slides it down and gives it right back to Haskell. It's a little cat and mouse going on. Owen Hillman trying to come up from 3rd, and Jack Haley, as mentioned, your 250 East points leader, right there in 4th. And he is being stalked like a hawk. Jack Haley has Spencer Turley on the 61 trying to reel him in. Hillman coming in from off the track right there. You have a change for the lead once again as Holm was able to get it on Haskell. But look at this absolute battle going on right now as they've actually reeled in Haskell, so it's really the battle for second. And Hillman's going to get that spot, as will Haley. And Turley looking inside on Haskell. Nearly goes side by side on the triple. So Haskell fading fast, almost gets taken down to the ground by Turley. Haley is all over the 170 machine of Owen Hillman, who gets a little kicked off the track, nearly goes down, but saves it. Will lose the spot to Haley, who is going to triple in here and get that spot. Clean Turley cases a triple in up and over the bars. Had a good gap going, but Peter Like is going to get by. Here comes Haskell, Blakeley, and is that Seabolt on the 19. Your second fastest qualifier as Haskell jumps off the track and goes down. Does not have a fall off, but Seabolt able to get a twofer as he goes around Blakeley. And is that, that's Bryce Whelan on the 18, who is on Hunter Root's bike. Root is riding Tyson Fresquez's old number 21. And Bryce Whelan, who's on a different team than Team Volcom, is using Hunter Root's number 5 tonight. Not sure what the mix-up is there. All right, so settling things down here a little bit. Turley getting pressure from Seabolt. Seabolt's looking inside. Tries to get that inside line to work, but Turley powers down around the outside and hangs on to it through the first rhythm. Blakeley also right there on the number 13 Suzuki as Turley going to get passed by Seabolt, but then jumps onto his back and goes down, so Blakeley slides on through, and then there goes Bryce Whelan. Turley gets back on ahead of Whelan, who is not able to triple out of the corner, and that is Peter Like on the deck, the Canadian, losing spots. And one rider went through. That was Sabrina Ritzler, the 773 rider out of Arizona for Moto City KTM. The only female to ever win a Premier Class main event in MX Simulator competition. Looking to stamp her ticket to the main event. Oh man, Seabolt was down. And he comes up short on the triple, so these two are going to close in. Ritzler runs it a little deep into the corner, which allows Whelan to get by. Here's the battle for your final transfer spot, though. Peter Like has it. Colton Mitchell, his teammate, wants it. Oh, and Seabolt went down. So Mitchell will get that final transfer spot. The Seabolt's obviously gonna want to get back in, as Bryce Whelan now also working his way back into this mix. So it's Peter Like getting a little saucy on the Supercross triple. Bryce Whelan and Colton Mitchell, 7, 8, 9. Oh, Whelan tucks the front end and he has a fall-off crash. Those of you new to MotoOption Supercross, MX Simulator has a fall-off crash feature, which basically if you hit your head, you will fall off the bike for roughly 8 to 12 seconds. Depends on how you cartwheel or roll out of it. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. Mitchell just trying to slice through the field, gets around his teammate Like, and he is bringing Seabolt with him, and then Seabolt jumps over the rut and loses it. Ritzer gets completely stuck and has to back out and loses 2 spots. But she is now in the final transfer spot, and Seabolt is going to have to regroup and go after Ritzler, who made a huge mistake at the end of that rhythm section there. We'll head back up front. Adam Holmes still continues to lead this thing 5.5 minutes in, so he just beat the marker. Next time by will be the white flag. Lots of ART Racecraft decals riders are in this one, and surprisingly enough, Owen Hillman is the fastest of the group at the moment. He sits in second. Rider out of Great Britain looking to stamp his ticket to tonight's main event. Chase Blakeley going full send into the rhythm section. He sits in third. Jack Haley is in fourth. Mitchell has sliced and diced his way up to fifth. Peter Like has Turley right behind him, 6th and 7th. Bryce Whelan is 8th. Jeremy Seabolt is now into 9th, as the white flag will be waving for these guys next time by. That has already been taken by Adam Holm, who is not quite lapped them yet. Don't believe so. So these guys should see the white flag next time by. These ruts are getting absolutely cupped out, though. So a lot of guys complaining at Indy about how high the Supercross triple was pitching these guys because of how soft the dirt was leading up to the face, and that is how the track designers had built it. And looks like they have worked on the jump faces a little bit better this week, but those corners are getting absolutely destroyed here in these heat races. It's going to be amazing to see what happens in the main event. It's going to be a war of attrition as Seabolt is down and Phil Bull is going to go through. We'll head back to this battle for a second, but up front, 27, Adam Holm. He takes the victory with a massive, massive straight air. Blakeley, Hillman, Haley, Mitchell, Turley, and Whelan battling it out for 6th, and oh, Whelan gets into Turley. A little bit of lines coming together puts Whelan on the deck, and that kind of makes it a challenge for him to make it in. Phil Bull is going to jump by and get into 7th and go down. So Seabolt goes by for 8th. Like goes by for 9th, I believe this is. Lots of shuffling going around. Like just trying to make it through, and he gets hit. Leitzel makes it past and gets into the main event. I thought Leitzel was a lap down. I apologize there, but Leitzel absolutely railed that rut. And I thought Like was just taking it easy because he had time, but it looks like he was a little bit off guessing who was close to him, and Leitzel steals the spot to go to tonight's main event. Whew. All right. So these guys are going to go ahead and set up the main events for us. Right now I'm going to take you guys for a little third-person perspective lap. Fairly long start straight, about 3/4, maybe 2/3 of the stadium distance, and then these guys are coming through this corner, doubling around this, and then tripling in, and then you'll see some guys quad, or some guys triple and then triple out, and then if they swing wide enough here, I'm not going to get it, but they can triple in, and then triple over this single table, and then triple out, but of course I'm just riding like trash. Every time the spotlight gets on me, that's what happens. Little double out of the corner and then the Supercross triple. And then you lose the front end where all these guys have, and Damon Tavella, he is just taking a nice saucy break right there, leaning up against the doghouse. Then this whole section back and forth across the start straight. Very interesting section to the track this week, which is actually going to be on the real track. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't run out of room with that, but Seattle this weekend going to be a full-blown mudder. It's been raining nonstop in Seattle these past few days, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. Supercross triple that I messed up and couldn't clear. You can see these ruts that are already kind of predetermined in these corners. And then the small little set of whoops, that's the only set of whoops on the track this week. And then back across where the start straight joins. And then back into the first section. So we will have our last chance qualifiers coming up in just a quick minute. Gonna dive into chat and see what you guys are asking. Question in chat was, why does Hinders not feature in SYS YouTube videos anymore? Kind of touched on this a few times already, so apologies to those of you that are hearing this again, but Hinders, like myself, we both have like full-blown real-life jobs, and Hinders was taking up quite a bit of his time, more so than it was for me, and so we kind of agreed to just let him have the time that he needed to get his job situation sorted, and if he wants to come back to the channel when he can, that's totally fine. Like, we didn't, like, our partnership is not over. We're still good friends and everything, and he's obviously still on SYS and part of the SYS crew. But it just was a little bit easier for me to kind of take the helm of everything and manage the day-to-day basis of it instead of work on a partnership that we were both so busy it didn't seem like it was working out. So he'll be back, I'm pretty sure of that. All right, 250 last chance qualifier. Not many guys on the gate, but unfortunately some of them are about to go home unhappy. Only 4 of these guys going to the main event tonight. We're about to find out who right now. Ooh, look at Cody Dar. Huge hole shot into turn 1, 327 machine. He had Eagland right behind him, but Eagland gets crossed up and goes down, so Dar is going to lead into the first section right ahead of Ty Smith. Couple of two-strokes. Like I said, these 250 two-strokes, they get some really good starts. And it is Dar and Ty Smith out front. And a whole host of riders right behind them, hoping to go through. Ty Smith looking inside, but Dar shuts the door, hangs on to it. We got Grant Harlan, Charles Gable, Seth Garrett, Jake Warden, and Cody Penwell all right here. Mikhail Ming Woodley and Brendan Hedge also there. Then Eagland, who might be the most consistent main event rider we've seen this year that's in this group. Dar going send on the triple, comes up short, so Smith goes through into the race lead for the 162. Woo! Big kick in the background. Harlan on the exit of the whoops. Oh, getting some gnarly kicks right now, and Harlan's going to lose a spot to Gable and almost get into him on the side there. Now Harlan goes off the track. Gable trying to reel in Cody Dar, and there are still so many riders mixed in this group right behind our front pack. Still anybody's race. Ty Smith has not gotten away with the lead. Dar is still lurking right there. Then we got Gable and Harlan in the transfer spots. But how about Warden coming up from behind? Mikhail Ming Woodley and Brandon Hedge also right there. Then a decent or so gap back to Penwell. First big gap, I would say. Front group is all pretty closely together as Grant Harlan goes down. So Smith, Dar, Gable, and now Warden in the final transfer spot. Warden getting the bigger lines through the rhythms. How about Charles Gable, though? Trying to close up on Dar. You can see these guys are all kind of hitting the 2-2-2 lines through the rhythm section. When you're in this position in these last chance qualifiers, and especially when you're down on power like these 250Fs have compared to the 450, it's honestly sometimes better to just play it safe. Go for the short lines, the small lines, and just hit your marks lap after lap and bank on guys crashing. Because you're going up against some guys that have a tough time putting it into mains, let's just say that. Which means that they can be inconsistent occasionally. It's not the worst idea to just play it safe, but how about Warden sliding down the inside, showing a wheel to Cody Dar, but doesn't get the pass done just yet. Oh man. Dar getting kicked through the rhythm, and oh, he's up and over the bars and down. It was looking so good for Cody Dar. And it comes unraveled. That would have been Dar's, maybe his first main event in a few years. See if he can't regroup and try to get back into the mix, but Ty Smith looks like he's going to comfortably lead these guys through, and it is now Mikhail Ming Woodley who goes into that final transfer spot, but Brandon Hedge is right behind him. Oh, look at Hedge down the inside. Pulls alongside, and will he have the pass into the next corner? Look at Woodley get all sorts of out of shape. Hedge actually crossed the track behind him trying to avoid the cut down. Hedge wants a piece of Mikhail Ming Woodley. These guys still haven't yet hit that white flag. It'll be next time by for race leader Ty Smith, who again is not really gotten away. If he had a fall-off crash right now, he would go out of transfer spot. So not out of the woods just yet, despite leading this thing, going on to the white flag. There it is, white flag, Ty Smith, Jake Warden. Oh man, Mikhail Ming Woodley and Charles Gable going at it. Charles Gable wants to get Woodley back. Brandon Hedge hoping they both take each other out and make this thing real easy for him. Look at that. Gable block passes Woodley. Here comes Hedge. Oh, what a cut under. And he comes over in the whoops. Wow, that was shifty, let's call it that. And Karma aggressively crosses over in the whoops and immediately goes down in the next corner, so Woodley gets it right back. I don't know how Woodley didn't get front end locked sooner, but he's able to ride out of it, and it is so close right now. Hedge goes for the triple in, but he completely baffed the rest of the rhythm section. Up front, Ty Smith, 162 Transmoto rider, is going to come down and stamp it into the main event. The winner of the LCQ, Warden Gable, Ming Woodley. Oh, and Hedge is down. So close, yet so far. And Ming Woodley survives the cross whooping to go to the main event in Seattle. Hedge will miss out. Penwell, Seth Garrett, Cody Dar, who was in transfer for so long, Matt Model, Nathan Zaworski, Colby Eagland, Grant Harlan, and 12 guys started. 8 of them are going home. 4 of them are going to the main event. Sorry, catching my breath there for a sec. And cuts are in, and our top 4 stays the exact same. Coming up next, 450 last chance qualifier, and our 450 LCQ tonight is going to be brought to you by the fine folks at Racetech Suspension. Those Racetech Tough Blocks looking awfully sexy tonight. Racetech, Chris Riesenberg is a big part of the Racetech program there, as part of the marketing team, and we know how much Checkers, the man himself, loves these last chance qualifiers. So Racetech bringing you our 450 LCQ here on the SYS TV broadcast. Racetech, the science of suspension. Their patented gold valves. 450 LCQ should be a good one. Gonna, excuse me, be a little bit more stacked than these 250 LCQs were. Not a knock to the 250 guys, but we did only see 12 guys start in that LCQ when there was a potential 22 gates open. I think just about all 22 will be filled for this 450 LCQ. And just like the 250 class, only 4 riders headed to the main event out of the LCQs. So we're going to have a lot more unhappy campers leaving this LCQ than we did in the 250 class. But there's always drama, always good fun in these LCQs. All right, so we're just waiting to load in. Sometimes when we have a lot of people on the gate, my computer does a little bit of this. I got a Disco and Rico. And they're off for their parade lap. Let's see if we can get an idea of who all is in this one. David Wright, Peter Like, Jack Gatlin, Ethan Parks, Phil Bowles, Sabrina Ritzler, Braden Carter, Daniel Batchett, Dylan Gatlin, Dylan Copeland, Craig Richards, Brian Haskell, Ivan Medina, Connor Holiak, Garrett Oliver, Daniel Batchett, already talked about. 18 guys starting this one. I missed anybody? Doug Oakley, Tyler Lang. I think I got all these guys and girl. Quite a few people that are some really good MX Simulator players are lined up in this 450 LCQ. We had a former Supercross champion. We've got last year's 250 East Supercross champion and Connor Holiak lining up here. So obviously he wants to try to go through. Let's take a look at Ritzler on the starting line though. The 773s. She's trying to get back to her starting gate position. Only 4 go to the main. And it's time for the 450 LCQ as it is underway in Seattle. A land rush into turn 1. Haskell again with a great start but gets bumped and absolutely sent off the track. Daniel Batchett comes out with the hole shot. Copeland, Parks. Oh, and Copeland and Parks absolutely demolish each other. Richards goes by and there's a stack up of epic proportions in that second corner, which actually collected Holiak and Haskell, who are both down. I just saw them get together. Let's kind of wait for things to settle down and sort out. Richards, Lang, and now Carter and Medina are battling for 4th. Oh, Carter looking inside. Still early. Still got another 3 minutes and a lap to figure it out, but that is not the way you want to figure it out. I don't know how in the world Braden Carter didn't go down. He just landed on Ivan Medina and rode out of that. But sometimes the luck falls your way, and Carter moves into 4th. He's got Peter Like right behind him. Billy Kunitz is trying to come there too. And then Sabrina Ritzler. And then Ethan Parks. Ooh, Parks. Small bobble there. Battle for the lead is brewing between Daniel Batchett and Craig Richards. Richards, a multi-time 250 Supercross winner, takes the lead. Batchett went down there in the final corner. So Lang goes through, and that was it. He falls back to 3rd as Carter still is in your final transfer spot, but there is a lot of pressure from behind. Peter Like, Sabrina Ritzler, and Billy Kunitz are all right there. And Carter nearly missed the Supercross triple. Oh, Batchett ends up backwards, so Like goes into 4th, but he's looking down the inside of Carter. Whoa, block pass, and they both go down. And then the exact same thing happens with Kunitz and Ritzler. So around the outside, Batchett tried to go, nearly got them all back. But for now, it is going to be Like that ends up in the transfer spot. Ritzler looking down the inside. Batchett almost gets into Kunitz, who is flipping. Like nails the 3-4-3 and actually opens up a small gap. Actually, he's in 3rd, so Ritzler is in 4th. Like, Ritzler, and Batchett in 5th, Carter in 6th, so these guys are going to want to try to work their way around Like and Ritzler. Sounds like a rider is down right here. Yes, and that is a lapper Not sure who, but I hope they didn't take Braden Carter out. Ritzler's looking like she wants to get around like here. Oh. Angle from behind looks like they're going to case that triple. Coming in, Ritzler is down. And she is going to get going just as Dylan Copeland gets there. And Copeland is going to jump by her. Not quite. Ritzler holds the spot, but now has heavy pressure. Copeland tries to pull alongside, now looking inside into this corner. Ritzler shuts the door. And Copeland into the next corner will get it and pushes Ritzler wide, but then Copeland misses a rut. Here's Billy Kunitz looking for a way through. So Copeland, seemingly from nowhere, he was not a part of that big train we saw earlier on, has now found his way into the battle as Kunitz goes up and over the berm. That might ruin his chances as we are now about to hit the white flag next time by. Copeland trying to stick with Ritzler, who has kind of turned it back up a little bit. Oh, Copeland! Oh, almost went down. And you see the 21 of Holiak on the deck on the right side of your screen right there. That is your defending 250 East Supercross champion going a lap down. He will not be going to the main event tonight in Seattle. And Copeland now is about to lose a spot to Braden Carter. The 123 goes on through. Needs to get to Ritzler, though. So one pass down, one more to go for Carter. As mentioned, white flag now flying. Race leader Craig Richards took it about a half a lap ago. Ritzler sliding the rear end down, cases the triple. Carter down the inside absolutely lays it out, and they are both down, and that's going to actually allow Phil Bull to go through. So Phil Bull, oh, and then Copeland gets into Braden Carter. Not sure what happened there, but Ritzler goes back through, so Phil Bull is in the final transfer spot. He's got to just hang on. Meanwhile, Craig Richards, a smooth and steady race, and he's going to take the victory here in the LCQ. Tyler Lang will hang on for second. Looks like he is all good for third. And it is Phil Bull just trying to get through the last couple of corners. Ritzler had the transfer spot, got taken out by Braden Carter. Braden Carter will not be going to the main event, and neither will Ritzler as Phil Bull goes through in fourth, so neither of them it worked out for. That's got to be absolutely frustrating for Ritzler. Maybe she should have tried to stay up there, could have got it on cuts, but instead she'll get seventh. Medina and Copeland both going to get through. Kunitz, Gatlin, Carter, who went for that last lap pass. It's the LCQ. It's what happens in these LCQs. Parks, Gatlin, Batchelot, Wright, Holiak, Oakley, Oliver, and Haskell not going through. Well, I said this LCQ was brought to you by Racetech. I'm sure Checkers approves the desperation last lap takeout attempt by Braden Carter. Shame it didn't work out. And after cuts come in, it confirms that Phil Bull will be going through to the main event out of that fourth transfer spot, along with Peter Like, Tyler Lang, and Craig Richards. So coming up next will be the main events, but first we're going to watch the one and only Spencer Turley sit on the gate. Now he's going. So he's going to take you for a little floating lap here. Turley has already stamped his ticket to the main event, as we know. He was not in that LCQ, and he made it out of his heat race just fine. Turley nailing the big boy lines, going 3-4-2 in that rhythm lane. Only 2 rhythm sections on the track this week, really, so not much spots to do anything wild or different, but these guys are making do with it. That rhythm section has seen 4 or 5 different options played out in it tonight. Turley doing a fine job of showing us the track here. Goes 3-1 into this corner, uses the single to soak up his momentum. keep his speed up through that corner, cutting across the ruts in that corner, and then a high gear bog type guy through the whoops. Goes through him in fourth and lets the bike kind of lug through. That was pretty much nearly a full lap. Here, I'll finish it for Turley here. I'll go down to this corner, and all he missed was coming out of this corner and joining up with the start straight. There, I completed the lap, Spencer. Oh. Coming up just a tad short. As mentioned though, main event's coming up next. Let's see if I can't bust a random transfer here. That was lackluster. I was trying to jump to the face of the Supercross triple. Instead, I just was hit with a wall. Figured that would be a little less steep. Let's see if I can't hit it the right angle. Nope, still just a wall. Why does that look so forgiving on the side and then you hit it and it's a wall? I don't get it. There we go, main event time. 250 main event will come up first. It is round number 8 for the 250 West Series. They did 6 rounds to start the season by themselves, and then round number 7 was 2 weeks ago, the first of our 2 East-West showdowns. So these guys will do round 8 at Seattle, round 9 at Salt Lake, and the finale, the second 250 East-West showdown at Las Vegas. So after Indy, as mentioned, Sean Klein with the victory, able to kind of keep things relatively close in this championship. And you really never know. 29 points back of Chapman, who was perfect entering through the first 6 rounds. Finished second at Indy, no less, so it's not like he lost a huge chunk of points, but Klein has been trying to match him, keeping it close. You know, if you have a Chapman random DNF or a random 14th or something in there, Klein picks up a win, you never know. But right now, it looks like it is far and away Chapman's to lose. 3 rounds to go and a 29-point lead. As I mentioned, if Klein is the one that has a terrible race tonight and Chapman is able to pick up the victory, and I actually misspoke earlier, I should correct myself, if he leaves with a 52-point lead or greater, Chapman will be your champion. We'll watch him on the start here, but it is time for round number 8 of the 250 West Series in the MotoOption Supercross Series for the North America MXS EMF Series in 2018. Let's drop the gate. Not a bad start by Chapman, a better start for the 76 of Fry, but Seberg is actually going to come across the line and get the whole shot. Dickerson looking down the inside, and it is absolute chaos. I saw Chapman get hit in the background. Not sure if he went down, but Dickerson leads momentarily. Seberg gets into him, and Fry is right there. And then Seberg actually ends up going down. So Dickerson leads. Zoa Cross moves up into second around Fry. Got a little bit of a colorful parade up front, and Chapman actually did not go down. I just saw him flash in the background. He's in about 5th spot, and I believe that's actually Klein in 4th. So your 2 championship combatants are 4th and 5th, Klein and Chapman. So at least for the moment, Klein is doing what he needs to do to keep the championship alive. Looking down the inside of Fry, really having to stretch out that triple, and instead cases it, and Fry goes over the berm, and then Klein loses the front end, so Chapman goes through. And Dickerson was down, so Zoa Cross has gone to the race lead, and Russ Chapman is in second. All but setting up a really perfect scenario here for Chapman after not the greatest of starts. So Chapman is going to try to go to work now on your race leader, Supercross. Number 48. Moto chasing ride, I believe, out front. Leading them over the line onto lap number 3, but Chapman is coming. We'll go on board the 29 here real quick. A 53.3 last time by. The track is only going to get worse from here. So I'm sure he's going to want to try to make his move while the track is still fresh, while he's still putting in these hot laps. Whoa, loses the rear end. And somehow, some way, does not have a fall-off crash there. But he's still in second. Here goes Clint Martin through into third on Tyler Fry. So Martin riding very well. Actually has Russ Chapman in his sights, does Clint Martin. Isaiah Dickerson is in 5th. Ben Seberg is in 6th. He's got Matthias Janis right behind him. Rider down in the background, that is Schuler, and Dupuis gets into him, as does Ming Woodley. The 324 of Yates is in there. Ty Smith out of the LCQ is right there. And then, of course, the number 10 of Sean Klein. And looks like Dupuis cased a triple, and Klein gets into Yates, who was down, and Dakota French hits him. Here's Ming Woodley trying to go back through around that. Charles Gable looks like he also got through as well. So that just turned into some really chaotic moments, and look at how chaotic it is back here. Look at all these guys. Klein leading a trail of 5 riders coming out of that corner, about 5 of them in the air at the same time. And Klein is going to go through on Yates, and Yates almost comes over on Ash Deering. Warden on, off, and triple. Klein going for the quad and down the inside. Warden not able to triple in, is likely going to lose the spot, but he is still fighting back. He hasn't relinquished it yet, and they're going to jump over Charles Gable. Warden down the inside will lose the spot to Klein, who carries his momentum around the outside. And they are passing... oh, that's Trevor Doyer. I thought that may have been Zoe Cross, but speaking of Zoe Cross, the race lead has changed. Russ Chapman to the front on the number 29. ART Racecraft Decals Kawasaki looking to go 7 of 8. Really stamp his authority on this championship. Clint Martin moves into second. Zoe Cross is... oh, I thought he may have been down because Ben Seberg also got through. Seberg is coming up short here. Oof. Tyler Fry, Isaiah Dickerson, Matthias Janis, Zach Dupuis, and Ty Smith. Couple two-stroke guys battling it out. James Schuler right behind that. Schuler on a 250F. Here's Sean Klein right behind Mikhail Ming Woodley. This is for 12th, and he is going to get that spot. So Klein through into the 12 spot. Pretty much needs to finish outside of the top 20 if Chapman were to win for the championship to swing Chapman's way tonight. Seeming unlikely at the moment, with Klein running 12th and probably going to go forward from here, but if he so happens to finish outside of the top 20, or I think it's actually 18th or worse, then the championship would go to Chapman based off of a victory tonight. Clint Martin is stuck on the Supercross triple. Looks like he maybe has come together with a lapped rider right there. And that is going to allow Seberg and Dickerson, who are in their own little battle, to get into this mix. Oh, and Dickerson gets taken down by that lapper who cut down out of the berm, and instead Fry hits him. Yeah, Fry. Got their numbers backwards for a second. So Dickerson's teammate, Matthias Janis, will go through, but not for long. Dickerson trying to go around the outside. Will he 3 in? Oh, a little short, but he makes it work and repasses his teammate back. A little over a third of the way into this one, you can already see the track is breaking down. Big one-liners being developed through these corners though, and I'm sure that those are only going to get bigger and more bumped out, gnarlier. That was Clint Martin down, so Seberg is going to go through into second. 13, almost 14 seconds behind your race leader, Russ Chapman, who is in lap traffic, and Martin goes right back through on Seberg. So Martin looks like he has got the speed to potentially run Russ Chapman's pace, but the consistency looks like it might be lacking just a touch here. Go back and find ourselves a little battle between the teammates still. Dickerson and Janice. Janice is going to lose some time though going up and over that rut. So let's actually go out front. We'll do a run through the field. Brought to you by Squid Squad. Find a good spot to do this here in a second. Actually, we'll probably be a lap away from this because I know where I want to do it at. All these guys fairly well mixed together. No real battling going on as Dupuis ends up going down, so Schuler goes through, head back up front, find Chapman. And as mentioned, we'll do a run through the field brought to you by Squid Squad, another new brand on board with the MXS EMF crew this year, helping out with some prizing. Good to have them on board, but it is Russ Chapman leading. And this is where we take you through the whole field and we can see the gaps. So Chapman gone through as your race leader. This looks to be Ash Deering, I believe, a lap down. Excuse me. Ming Woodley, Gaskew, and then Seberg in second there on the 55. Martin in third. Janice in fourth on the 41. Here is Dickerson in fifth on the 65. Tyler Fry in sixth on the 76. Trevor Doiron in seventh on the 251. Or no, I'm sorry, he's a lap down in 21st. So seventh is Schuler, I believe. 70 right there. 237 of Jake Warden. 162 of Ty Smith. 93 of Dakota French. 166 of Zach Dupuis. And your race leader, Russ Chapman. So I think Dupuis is 11th, which means Chapman has already nearly lapped half the field. Yeah, Dupuis was 11th, and actually Chapman is about to pass two riders, so he's lapped up to 9th, and he's also lapped Sean Klein, interestingly enough. So Klein is a lap down, actually right there, right behind Chapman, about to pass Dupuis, or trying to, is Klein on the 10. So not the night Klein was hoping for to keep this championship interesting, but he will keep it alive as they run, despite the fact that he is currently down in the background. A nearly 21 second lead for Chapman. And at the moment, he is probably on pace to lap into the top 5 if he keeps this up. We'll have to see how it goes. He's lapped Zach Dupuis. Next up, 237 of Jake Warden is who he is trying to lap. He's about to lap Cody Yates for the second time on the 324. And here is, that looks to be Schuler on the 70. Chapman will jump by him, put him a lap down. And then right ahead of that on the 237 is Jake Warden. Whoa, Warden slid it down and Chapman had to grab the brakes hard. Just able to squeak by. And so Schuler's been lapped. He's lapped past 7th now. And we are yet to be 11 minutes into this thing. So Chapman putting on an absolute clinic right now. Seberg getting around Dakota French, trying to lap him. He's trying to get away from Clint Martin, as Sean Klein is desperately trying to work his way through some of the riders that he's battling with to unlap himself. Seberg is down off the track, so he's going to lose a few chunks of spots here. Janice also going by. Wow, that was an absolutely horrendous tracker entry by Ben Seberg. I know he's out front, and all he did was take Ash Deering down, who is, I believe, in about 18th spot, but you can't do that. You got to be better with your tracker entries. We saw what happened to Jesse Mullins. It can happen to anybody. Oh, and that is Clint Martin landing on Dakota French, so I believe that puts Janice into second, and it will. Martin is hoping to get going in third. Here's Seberg for the send, and they're going to get together. Oh, it's fortunate neither of them actually fell off the bike. Seberg somehow rode out of that entirely, but he's going to get passed by Dickerson. So now it is an MV Films 2-3, and now Seberg has a fall-off crash before the Supercross triple. So Martin goes back through, and that looks to be the only spot he will lose. Yes. All these other riders are a mixture of lappers. Tyler Fry, I think, in 6th, just went a lap down. Yes, he did. Russ Chapman is right there. So Chapman is lapped through 6th. Only 2 through 5 are on the same lap as Russ Chapman right now, but they're really not even in the same zip code. So 12:45 into this race, and Chapman continues to extend his lead. Look at how absolutely, I'm gonna go on board with him here for a second. Just look at how deep these ruts are. That is how a road is working, developing these mega nasty lines. Chapman resorting to not tripling in here anymore. Whoa, that's gonna be sketchy. Wow. Has to cut down. So double in here, triple onto the table, off. And then more ruts in this corner. Goes high. Actually see on the face of the Supercross triple, there's a few bumps developing. And look at this right here. Very deep, and then back across, and another very deep inside rut. Chapman's still looking good though. Pace looks good, 54.5. For the track being as chewed up as it is, a 30-second race lead right now. It's probably got 3 laps to go. Janice is second, Dickerson is in third, Seberg is in fourth, and here is Martin in fifth, and he should be getting that blue bar right now. Yes, it is. So that blue bar on the bottom of your screen, it tells you the number of the rider that is coming up to lap you and how many seconds they are back, and obviously Chapman just went by, so that blue bar will disappear. That is how blue flags work in this game. Usually speaking, if that bar shows that a rider behind you is under 1 second and you refuse to move out of the way and eventually cause a crash, you're probably going to get suspended. So Martin, who is in 5th spot, has gone a lap down, and Chapman looking at 2 laps to go here. That's probably all he'll get unless these guys start crashing. But even so, that is incredible. On this track, with the way that these lines have developed and how deep this track is, Chapman has rode a tremendously good race. Can't put a knock on these MV Films teammates though, as Janice actually just went down, so Dickerson is going to get the spot on his teammate, but the battle continues evermore. They crashed into each other in the heat race, and then they found each other again in the main event. Just another day at the practice track for these two. Oh, rider down. Oh, that was Mikhail Ming Woodley. And Dickerson was actually down, so Janice was about to get 2nd spot, and really, white flag is out. If these guys crash again, then really Chapman could lap them all, seeing as he is only 1 straightaway behind these guys now. White flag is out. Look at Chapman getting the big lines into the section here. Look at how many lappers are in front of Dickerson. Janice is pulling alongside. They're going to go side by side over the Supercross triple, but there's still lappers everywhere. And Dickerson lands on Dupuis, and then Janice loses the front end and goes down, and Chapman lands and hits Dupuis. Look at this absolute chaos. So Seberg is now moved up to 3rd. Janice is second, and I think those are the only guys that will stay on the lead lap. Oh no, Chapman went down, so Dickerson will also stay on the lead lap. But Chapman, another fantastic ride, almost lapped the whole field. Instead, picks up the victory with no questions asked, no buts about it. A bad start turned into a great night for Russ Chapman, but this battle for second is not over. Janice is getting kicked and he goes down, so Seberg goes through momentarily, but here comes Dickerson on the 65. He's not done, and Seberg is making an absolute disaster of this rhythm section. Dickerson around the outside gets in a second, and Janice is still right there, so the MV Films guys want to get on the podium together, but Janice goes down in the background. Dickerson has to survive a few more corners to get second, and he won't do that. He's down. So Seberg goes back through into second. Oh my goodness, the lappers and the track, and oh my goodness. What a crazy night for these guys, and Seberg is still having troubles in the final few corners, but he will just barely pick up second. Dickerson in third. Janice looks like he may have just absolutely sent someone. Couldn't see the number. But looks like he is going to pick up a fourth because nobody is on the lead lap except him now. Everybody else has finished the race. And Janice over the line gets fourth. Cuts don't affect the front. Everybody else a lap down. And actually cuts don't seem like they affected anybody else, so the running order as they cross the line stays the same. That is what is on the top of your screen running. And Russ Chapman picks up win number 7 of 8 possible race victories in this 250 campaign for the West guys. So he is well on his way to claiming this title. Could wrap it up in Salt Lake City. But coming up next, it is going to be the 450 guys. All eyes on Leclerc versus Colton Mitchell, a 10-point difference in the championship. It is all but down to these two riders going for the 2018 MotoOption Supercross title. They have 5 rounds left to figure it out between them. And it all starts right here at Seattle. Gonna be a good night in this 450 class. Lots of drama still to play out. No idea where things are going to go. Track the way that it has been breaking down in the 250 main, I think it's only going to be even gnarlier in the 450 main. This is going to be wild in the 450 class. Of course, the 450 bikes generate more power, move more dirt, and the races are longer. So you saw how crazy it was at the end of that 250 main event. We are in for a whole nother ball game in this 450 class. So these guys out for their parade lap right now, cruising around. Gonna be interesting to see who shines through tonight in Seattle. Mullins, the outdoor specialist, he loves these rutted up tracks. Could he pick up another win tonight? Potentially so. We saw how good Jeremy Smith was in his heat race. Alexis Leclerc, obviously always a threat to win. Adam Holm, winner in his heat race. Jeremy Seabolt won the last time we were out at Indy. Hunter Root making his season debut tonight. First North America MotoOption Supercross Series race he's made all year. He qualifies fastest. He wins his heat race. Now he will try to convert the trifecta in Seattle by winning the 450 main event. And he's won these races quite a few times before. I believe on the list of all-time 450 wins, he is 4th. Your 2015 MotoOption Supercross Series champion. Sounds like they are discussing a road settings in chat. Either way, it looks like they have figured out what they want to do. And it is time for round number 13 of the MotoOption Supercross Series. Seattle is the track. 22 riders on the gate. And we're about to find out where this championship is headed with only 5 left to go. But 4 after tonight. The board is sideways, the revs are up, and the gate is down in Seattle. A terrible jump for Mitchell. Another good start for Leclerc down the inside. Does he get pinched? No, he doesn't. He comes across the line side by side with Root, and just like in their heat race, they are 1-2 as Root is actually going to pull alongside and into the second corner. Leclerc runs him high and takes over the race lead. Smith is right there. Mullins is right there. No sign of Colton Mitchell out front, but Leclerc is leading, and that is bad news for Colton Mitchell. Just saw a quick glimpse, and I think he might be buried in around 16th. Here's Root looking inside on Leclerc. Almost gets into his rear tire. You can see Holm and Smith are funneling into the background there as Leclerc leads through on lap number 1. Root right here going to try to stalk Leclerc, make him think about it, get in his head a little bit. We saw how it worked in the heat race. Leclerc trying to get away from Root desperately, made a huge mistake, went down, cost him the win. So how long does Root wait? If he sits behind him, will he make a move early? Will he settle in, try to find a pace? He might get one right here, though. Down the inside, Leclerc shuts the door super hard, and Root gets some front end lock. That's what Leclerc is known for. Very aggressive cross jumps, which obviously don't thrill people even the kindest in this game. So Root going to stick close. Adam Holm is still looking for his first career 450 Supercross main event win. 4th in points entering the night, still trying to gain points on Mullins for 3rd. Only 12 back, so potential to make some points on him tonight. But this battle up front is too good to leave right now. Root versus Leclerc, the old rivalry, back on. Root going for the quad over and double down the inside. Does he square him up here? T-bones him, but Leclerc rides out of it no problem. Probably a small product of the French bubble. Leclerc has a distinct advantage over these guys that they don't get to work with, and that they are all from the United States battling behind him, so they all can see each other just fine. They are dicing with each other. There's almost no lag. Leclerc being from France, a little further away from the server that is in Eastern the United States of America, tends to have a little bit of a lag bubble. And you can bash me for saying that, but I've seen it firsthand. But how about this battle developing? Holm was able to squeak around Root after Root got going. Oh, but Holm dumps it, and that causes an absolute stack up, which also took Mitchell. And there goes Jack Haley, Logan Leitzel. That's not what Holm wanted to have happen. So we got Leclerc leading this thing. 2 or 3 second lead over Jeremy Smith. And Smith has looked really good here tonight. I'm going to be curious to see, as the track deteriorates, how well Smith is able to adapt. Smith, one of the better natural talents in this game, picked up the game so fast in only his 2nd career professional start in this game. He won the Red Bud National back in 2012. All-time 250 wins leader in Race Factory Gaming Competition, now EMF North America. Leclerc is riding pretty solid right now. Looking smooth, connecting his lines well, trying to establish that gap. Jeremy Seabolt, who has been the man on the mission these last few weeks or so. Saw him win at Indy. Came from fairly far back to do so. Caught and passed Leclerc. Trying to do the same thing again here. Just trying to bring Hunter Root with him. Just peeked at the top of the screen there. We saw Jesse Mullins in 19th. Oh, Seabolt loses the front end over the top of the rut, so Root goes through, Haley goes through, and Mitchell goes through as well. And here comes Holm. He's going to have better drive in the whoops and will also get through on Seabolt. So Seabolt cost himself 4 positions, gets one back on Haley, though. The talent at the front of this field is incredible. And I gotta tell you, it looks like Smith is keeping him honest here out front. 2.8 seconds the gap, of 52.4 last time by to a 52.5, so gap stayed pretty constant. Both of them have a 52.1 as their best lap time. But it looks like Smith actually reeled in some time this time by and actually lost it there towards the end at a 52.8 to Leclerc's 53.2. So yes, indeed, he did reel some time in. Looks like they also may have lowered the road setting just a tad here, because it looks like these lines aren't digging out as deep as the 250 class was. It's like the lapped rider of Owen Hillman is the next rider in line for Smith, as Smith comes up short in this rhythm section, makes a big mistake, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. But I'll tell you what, Hunter Root is coming up quickly. Already went for Leclerc once. Tried to T-bone him, but it did not work. Now trying to regroup his efforts. He's only 6 seconds back of your race leader, and he is about to get to Jeremy Smith, although he gets a little sideways off the finish line jump right there. The inertia of the bike stalled out as he tapped on the rear brake to try to correct it. And Root has gotten around Jeremy Smith. I didn't see where Smith went down, but the teammates of Mitchell and Siebold, I should say, battling it out here for third. Siebold gets the better of that for the moment. So while these guys up front are kind of separated, we'll go back to see Craig Richards, Logan Leitzel, Adam Holm all in a good little train right here. Actually, Leitzel might get a move here on Richards. That was bold, Leitzel. Middle rut, tries to triple in, ends up taking out himself and Richards, and going through, or trying to go through, was Kohenauer, but Kohenauer goes down. Spencer Turley trying to show his way inside of the top 10 here, moves into 9th, having one of his better rides of the season. Then Kohenauer, Phil Bull, Bryce Whelan is down, so Eduardo Simos is going to go through. Chase Blakeley will not get there, and then your race leader, Alexis Leclerc, coming up behind him. Tyler Lang right next to Leclerc. Devin Davis back here as Root has gone by as well. Then Hinters, Reed Young, Owen Hillman, Peter Like, and Jesse Mullins having a night to forget. Probably going to lose third in championship points to Adam Holm, who is having a much better night. Needed to pick up 12 points on Mullins to get there as Smith goes down. Whoa, Mullins jumps around Colton Mitchell here. So up front, Leclerc still leads, but he is getting into some lap traffic, and as he goes through the field, the lap traffic only gets more and more difficult to pass, as there are more of the faster riders in the game that he is coming upon. Here he is catching Chase Blakeley, who won 2 of the 12 outdoor nationals we raced last year, so Blakeley obviously knows how to get it done. And Leclerc going to try to make quick work of him. Root doing everything he can to keep this thing close. I think Root at this point would just be happy to pick up the win, as Blakeley very kindly moves all the way off the track to allow Leclerc through. Siebold, Mitchell, Holm, Leitzel. Almost cased that quad. Now Jeremy Smith is pretty close to him. Look at this group of riders right here. We got 5 guys. Oh my goodness, Turley. Not sure what happened, but he was just doing a helicopter right there. And here come all of the race leaders trying to get through. So Leclerc actually kind of lucked out a little bit because he jumped over that whole group. Now Root is going to have to deal with 4 of these guys, and they're all really close together. I think they'd prefer to allow Root through. Well, actually Root went down, so forget about that. Simo's trying to find a way through on Turley. And Whelan is also excuse me, in this battle. Oh, Simos hits the deck. Oh, and then who's down right there? That's Phil Bull. Takes Chase Blakeley down as well. And you saw Root, who is on Tyson Fresquez's number 21 bike, squeak through. And actually, do we have a change for the lead? No, I'm sorry. I saw something wrong there. Yeah, we are just over 10 minutes into this thing, and look at how deep this track has already gotten. We'll go on board with Root here for a second as he gets into the back of Turley, who is just absolutely stuck in the rut, and now actually Root has lost a spot. Turley trying to get out of the way, doesn't realize where Root is, it looks like. Oh man, Root getting a big kick on the face of that jump. Turley, for what it's worth, was really trying his hardest to get off to the side of the track, but if you play in first person, you can't look behind you in this game, so he was just trying to move over, and Root was already there. So now Root has lost a spot to Quick Peak Seabolt. Now Seabolt feels about Leclerc. Root just trying to get around some of these lappers. 13 laps in, you can see track actually looks not too bad comparatively to the 250 class towards the end, which they are slowly creeping towards the end of what would have been the 250 main event. Saw that in Twitch chat, Nathan Zaworski, part of the SYS crew, dropped by and let us know that a road was changed to 0.5 for this main event. So I think they toned it down just a little bit, trying to keep it not too insane. Oh, Root tucks the front wheel hard and he goes down. Phil Bull trying to avoid him there. So Seabolt about a straight away behind Leclerc right now. But looks like he's putting in faster laps. So actually take a peek here. 53.6 to a 54.7, and his fast lap is also better than Leclerc's at a 51.4. But with the track deteriorating as it is right now, I don't think we'll see many of these guys dipping down to that 51-second range anymore. Seabolt at 53.3, 6.5 seconds behind Leclerc. Leclerc's biggest problem at the moment appears like it's going to be lap traffic, if it is at all. They've been pretty nice to him, but it just takes the one to kind of come unraveled. A little mistake there, loses a little bit of time. Owen Hillman. Teammates to Colton Mitchell nonetheless, being very nice there, pulls completely off to the side. Looks like Seabolt is slowly reeling this thing in. Oh, Seabolt getting a little hiccup out of the corner. You can see how deep that line is. And now Seabolt and a few others as well trying to develop that outside before the finish, because the line heading up to the finish line jump is so cupped out. We've seen Root get kicked on it a few times. I think these guys are just trying to find the lines that won't do that to them, as Leclerc is definitely being caught now. Battle for the lead is about to be on as Seabolt gets around Whelan. He got around his teammate Owen Hillman, and he goes through the tough blocks there, but he is definitely reeled in Leclerc. Leclerc just trying to keep things smooth. Looks like these guys also having to change up their lines now. All of them doubling in, tripling onto the table off, and doubling through that section, as opposed to tripling in and either tripling over, tripling out, or quadding over, doubling out. Turley down in that really deep rut. So now it looks like Hinners and Turley between your race leaders. So Seabolt had really closed it in, and then it looks like, I think maybe Leclerc had a pretty good lap right there, able to stretch it back out. Whelan looking down the inside of Seabolt and is going to, well, he had passed him, but he gives the spot back. Oh, and then gets into the back of Seabolt, and that was Mitchell, who is a lap down. Wonder where Mitchell is now. Not a good night for him. Ooh, Leclerc makes a bobble. Oh, Seabolt down. Yeah, Mitchell getting lapped right now. Let's go back and find him. He is in 5th as he goes down. 6th, I should say. But he is 19 seconds behind Smith. Holm is all over Root, so we'll stick with this battle. And then Root is 28 seconds back of Seabolt. So, despite the fact that Seabolt's in 2nd and Mitchell's in 6th, they're a lap apart from each other. And I think I just said that backwards. Seabolt is in 2nd, Mitchell is in 6th. Trying to see this battle develop a little bit more between Root and Holm. Battle for the lead, still not really materializing. Holm looks like he wants a piece of Root though. Go on board with the number 27. We'll see these ruts one more time. You can see Holm trying completely different lines outside of the ruts entering this rhythm section. And uses those ruts into the corner. Out, triples in, comes up a touch short, but jumps past Root anyway, who is into a lapper. And Holm goes through into 3rd, so Holm maximizing his effort tonight. Looking to move into 3rd in the championship. As mentioned, only 12 back of Mullins entering the evening. So all the points he could pick up would be a huge help, and Mullins about to go 2 laps down. He's right in front of Leclerc. Leclerc going on off and then doubling to the inside, and Mullins is trying to let him go. So Leclerc looks like he has figured out some smooth lines, pulled back away from Seabolt temporarily. Spencer Turley trying to back up, straighten himself out, almost clips Root and Simo's going through. Holm, and then Jeremy Smith is going a lap down in 5th, and oh my goodness, race leader Alexis Leclerc just had a huge moment, and he's stuck behind a couple lappers now, and he's getting a little buck in the whoops. This is going to really allow Seabolt to close in if he's on his horse right now. Oh, and Leclerc into Turley, somehow able to jump over him, and then Seabolt hits that whole group and goes down. Wow. Leclerc, very technical riding right there to be able to hop over Turley and not go down. So Leclerc continuing to navigate through lap traffic. This track is so roached right now. Let's go from his perspective here. 59.1, you can see his times are dropping off, but he has an 11-second lead now after that Seabolt crash that we just saw. And Leclerc is right behind Mullins, who he's trying to lap. Mullins not really wanting to get in the way here. Oh, Leclerc, whew. Came up a touch short on that triple into the corner, but corrals the bike underneath of him. It's looking really good in these ruts. Kind of letting it hang out still a little bit. Not doing anything crazy, but still, when he can, pushing the envelope. He's trying to lap Phil Bull and does so there. Coming up to 19 minutes into this thing. Leclerc now developing a brand new line in that final corner. Going through the flat part, does a 55.5. In and out of the top blocks. Oh, he slides it down. And he is kind of stuck on the face of the Supercross triple here. Gets it going though, but Seabolt's still nowhere close. So actually what that might do for Leclerc is he might not make it back to the line in time, and he might get the white flag next time by. It'll be very close. Depends on how he gets through these last couple sections. Oh, up and over the bars. Leclerc gets kicked through the front of the bike, and here comes Seabolt. And Seabolt is going to take the lead. So the track comes up and bites Leclerc when he was probably least expecting it to. And yes, indeed, they will get the white flag next time by, and we have a brand new race. Jeremy Seebold takes over the race lead here. And the white flag is a waving. It looks like Leclerc had a moment and lost some ground. So Seebold trying to make it 2 in a row after his win at Indy. Leclerc trying to maximize his points over Mitchell with a victory. And looks like he has turned up the intensity. He is going for it again. Getting a little cross-rutted exiting. Seebold just trying to ride smooth lines. Trying to make it work for him. Leclerc threes into the corner. Devin Davis right there as Seebold nearly came into him. And oh man, Leclerc's down again. Pushing too hard, and he hits the deck with a half a lap to go, and that should all but hand the victory to Jeremy Seebold. Same section, 2 laps in a row. Comes up and bites Leclerc, and it'll cost him the victory in Seattle as Seebold survives the treacherous race conditions, and Jeremy Seebold wins the Seattle Supercross in MX Simulator. Alexis Leclerc has got to be disappointed, but at least he gained points in the championship, so can't be too bummed there. Mitchell ended up 6th. Meanwhile, Hunter Root, in his return to the MotoOption Supercross Series, looks like he will end up on the podium. Probably not what he was hoping for. I think he was looking for the win here tonight. But the track and the way it broke down, very treacherous conditions. I think he'll be happy to leave with a podium. And he will ride this thing home for a 3rd, 4th, and likely gaining enough points to move into 3rd in the championship is Adam Holm. In 4th spot here, he will pick up 18 points. And Mullins in 14th will pick up 8 points, I believe. So actually, Holm will just fall short. He'll be 1 point back of Mullins leaving. Either way, the win goes to Seebold after a dramatic ending to this one here in Seattle. Very close action between him and Leclerc down to the line. Leclerc ends up losing it with 2 laps to go, then crashes on the last lap again, and Seebold takes the win in Seattle. So that is going to do it for us here on Start Your Systems TV. Thank you all for tuning in once again this week. Want to give a big shout out, of course, to Versus PC for helping us out, put this broadcast on. Can't do it without them. Big thank you to Versus PC, all the sponsors involved with MXS EMF, MotoOption Clothing, Racetech Suspension, SYS, Squid Squad, MXS Servers, who am I missing? FamMX Designs. Big shout out to everybody that puts on this show. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in for round number 13 of the MotoOption Supercross Series here from Seattle. Another good night of racing in the books, and we hope for many more to come. Coming up next week, I believe we are in Minneapolis. So that's going to be another fun one, another Triple Crown event. And we hope to see you guys there. But for Kellen Brower and all of us here at Start Your Systems, we'll see you guys next week. So long for now.